Hey there YouTube, Doc's Motorcycle Service. Thanks for stopping by the garage. So this is going to be part 2 of the wiring harness video. As I mentioned in the previous video, I'm not sure if this is going to be a 2-part or 3-part video. Electrical systems and wiring, well, I hate electrical systems, okay? So I'm taking my time with this one because I want to do it right the first time. Don't rush yourself with electrical systems. In the previous video, we looked at getting the new dash kit, the wiring harness, speedometer, all that on the bike, and making sure that it worked. Should be a little link popping up right here somewhere for that. If you've not seen that one, go back and take a look at that one because you know, it's like coming into a TV series in the middle of season 1 or the middle of season 5. If you didn't see the first one, this one's not going to make sense. We're going to try to keep them slow. Keep an eye out for the Facebook page. Go there, check it out. Starting to get some interest on that side, so check that out as well. And in this one, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the handlebars, getting the handlebars back on the bike, getting the wiring control wires for your on and off switches, your run switches, your horn switches matched up, making sure that the color codes match, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. We're also going to look at putting the dash kit wiring harness from the previous video into the terminal block. Now a lot of this stuff is kind of simple. I'm not going to show you how to put 16 or 14 pin connectors on 14 wires, but I am going to go in a little in-depth on how I put pin connectors on wires, and we'll talk about that as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the new toys that came in. Here's the handlebars off of Donna. And this cable running across here goes to the carburetor. You can see how it works in the right controller up here. Keep in mind, this right here is spring loaded, but it's based off of the springs on the carburetor where these two little barrel fittings go into. And then back here we have the connector for our front master cylinder that comes over here and goes down to the front caliper, which is still attached to the bike. It would tie in right here. So we've gone ahead and stripped this side. This was done earlier and I can't remember why we did it. If I think about it, I'll let you know. And we're going to be replacing this clamshell, and that's the reason they call it a clamshell. It connects on the front and the back. And this one over here, along with the hand controls. We've got those. We're going to replace all this. All this is going to be chrome. And let's go ahead and take a look at that now. We got the new control wiring kit here for both sides. We got the new clutch and brake control kit here from Drag Specialties, and as you can see, I got them mounted in a vise for the purposes of this video so you can see them. You can see Donna in the back. Even when she's on the ground, these bars are way up in the air, so it's going to be a lot easier to work on them lowered like this. So as you can see, it's nicely packaged, and I've been real happy with everything that we've purchased that was more than $10 from places and the way that it's come in. We can start here on this side. Everything's chrome. This looks like this is going to be our left side controller for the clutch. Over here, this is going to be our right side. Again, everything's nicely packaged, nicely cleaned up, set in there the way it needs to be. We got the what looks like our left clamshell, the top of the clamshell. This piece here looks like this is the bottom of the right side clamshell. This is going to be our right side top half of the clamshell. And if I can get it out, this looks like this is going to, actually I take that back. This is the right hand side of the bottom of the clamshell. And the easiest way to tell is you have these circles right here. This is the part that is going to be going together, so they always match up good. You'll always have your two buttons at the top and your one button at the bottom. I'm going to guess that this is going to be the right hand side, and this is going to be the left hand side. And again, a couple of things to keep in mind as you're looking at this stuff. As I've mentioned before, always make sure that you're matching everything up. For example, you'll notice here on the bottom of this one, you have these two holes. Well, that's where your throttle cable's coming into the clamshell. And they call them a clamshell because of the way they attach. You put one in the back, one up front to tighten it up, and it just sort of looks like a clamshell. You have your miscellaneous other parts in here for tightening everything up and making it work. So there you go. So I'm not going to bore you with taking all this other stuff off, but what we're going to do next is we're going to get the controls and the mirror stripped off of the right side. We're going to get the clamshell stripped off the left side. Then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about running the new button wiring harness through the handlebars, and then we will do a test fit, make sure everything works, and if it does, we'll go ahead and tighten everything down and get it moved back on the bike. Alright, so we got our clamshell off on the left hand side, and you have your wire just like right here inside this plastic heat shrink or this protective coating. That wire comes through the bottom, works its way up here, and comes out here. So here is a major tech tip, okay? Get you a piece of weed eater string. I like weed eater string because it's very taut. And before you pull these out, take this weed eater string, lay it on here, wrap you some tape around it, fold this piece back over the outside of the tape, and then wrap some more tape on it. Here's why. You start pulling on this up here, you pull the wire completely out down here. Now what are you going to do? You've got a brand new set of wires that you're going to have to feed all the way through here. That's not fun. So by taking the weed eater string, taping it off down here, and then pulling this out, you now, as the wires come through, you pull your weed eater string all the way out to right here. But have enough left so when it gets up here, you still got some hanging out the bottom. Because then you untape the wire from the green piece that you just pulled out, you put your new wiring harness on it, and you pull it back through. Another little tech tip. This is rubber. It's going to have to go in here and make a turn. It's going to have to go down here and make a turn. And then it's going to have to make a turn out the bottom. This doesn't like rough edges. And on the inside it's rough. It's not nice and pretty and smooth like this. So we're going to take a little Dawn dish detergent or whatever Linda has under the sink. And as we start to pull that wire back through here, we're going to take that dish detergent and we're going to put it on here, and that's going to allow this to slide smoothly through all of the curves that it's got to get to until it gets up here and out on the bottom. And then we're going to do that for both sides. So keep that in mind. Very important tech tip. Because if you just simply pull this old one out, then you're going to have to take something like this, maybe a coat hanger, and you're going to have to try to feed it through here. That's not fun. Not that I've ever done that. Remember, when you're taking these clamshells off, hold them together. Also keep in mind, inside this clamshell is going to be your throttles and where your cables come up, and most likely connected by some type of barrel fitting. Yep. So these are barrel fittings. There's one on each side to represent one each of your cables. Now you can do this a couple different ways. You can slide this whole thing off and it'll come with it. But if you were trying to replace the grips and you weren't taking the clamshells completely off, all you have to do is lift this cable up out of this groove and then push that fitting out the side, and don't lose it. All it really is a hole there with a line for your cable, and it fits over it like that. Your cable spins up into the top of it like that to lock, spins on over to that side, and then it slides back in. So up, line it up with the groove wire, take a little something, push it out. Here's what's left. These are your switches. We'll go into them in details here in just a minute, but we're going to go ahead and get these slid off and out of the way. So this next part is going to be kind of tedious, especially if you're doing it by yourself. My suggestion is to come up about 1.5 inches and then come in here with some tape. We're going to use painter's tape, and you don't want this to be real thick, okay, because it's going to have to work its way up through here. Tape it on here, tape it down, get it good and secured, bring it back up, and then when you get up to about right here, take this piece and lay it over. And you might say, well, why are you doing that? Well, I'll tell you here in just a minute. Alright, I don't care how good you take this, but if you left this piece sticking straight out, I guarantee you it would pull out the bottom. By doubling it over the tape and then taping it down again, what we've done is we've created a hook, like a shepherd's hook, to keep it from pulling back out. So now what we're going to do, we're going to start pulling on this while feeding this. We're pushing on this end, we're pulling on this end, and we're not trying to tear it apart. So we'll push in here, we'll pull up here, we'll push here, we'll pull here. So remember, don't pull all this in. If you did, you defeated the purpose. And then just ease it through. You know you're getting close to the end. And right there. Now, this one's through. We're going to strip this tape off. You can see from how badly this tape got mangled coming through there. That's not an easy job. Take your time and be patient with it. So now, we're going to undo this tape. We're going to put the same formula for putting the new wiring harness back on it. Might take a little bit more tape because you got all these ends to deal with. We got our tube protector here, and our 2 protector stops right here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start taping up here, because remember, we have to pull this through. We could probably do it down here and then feed it in right here, but when it gets down to the hole in the bottom, if we don't have this together, it's going to get hung on that lip, and that's going to give us a fit. So we're going to start taping from here down. We'll get our wire in here, we'll fold it over, and we'll work it back up. So our black stopped here, our wire tips are down here, we got our green piece, we brought it over, we ran out of tape, so we had to put another piece, but it's covered in here, which is a good thing, again, because if it was above this, it might get hooked when we come out the bottom. You might say to yourself, well, why did you wrap that so good? Well, remember, this is rubber coated wire, and it's going to be going past some sharp and rough edges in here. You want to keep that protective coating on here. If not, if you scrape any of it off, you run into the potential for having a short. And trust me, you've heard me talk about electrical shorts. I don't like electrical shorts. What we're going to do here is just a little bit, just a little dab will do you. And we're going to put it over this, and we're going to rub it up, and you'll feel it when it disappears. Alright, you don't want it messy. You just want it to, as my daddy used to say, you just want it to have a little slickum on it. Just a little bit more. Okay? Got that? Alright, there we go. Linda's going to manipulate the switches. I'm going to hold this off here to the side. I'm going to start pulling on the bottom end and working this through here. See how easy this thing slides through here with a little schlickum on it? Pushing up here, pulling down here. And there it is, our tape's right there. But again, don't kill it trying to get it through here. So we'll work this out down here, being careful not to pull it out of there too hard or too fast. Keep feeding it up here on the top end. And there you go. Now all that's left to do is to pull this in to where we need it to be at. And we're going to leave a little slack here because we need to get these 2 pieces mounted in the new clamshells and then get them where we want them. So as we bring these switches mounted in the clamshells up to here, we'll continue to pull on the bottom and take the slack out. You don't want a whole bunch of this up here, but you do need a little bit of it to manipulate the switches and get them pointed in the right direction in the clamshells. So that's what we're going to work on next. So we're going to break the video right here. Just one of the things. Sometimes it just goes long because the information's got to be out there. Again, this is not for a master mechanic. This is for a do-it-yourselfer guy. And I feel compelled to put the information in there without shortchanging you. So we're going to break this video in half right here. This will end up about 22-23 minutes, and you'll have 2 22-23 minute videos as opposed to one 45-minute video, because if you're like me, you ain't got the attention span to sit there that long. So look for part 2 of this video. I guess this is part 7.1a. So the next one will be 7.1b. Or 7.2a, and the next one will be 7.2b. So stick around YouTube. As always, check out the Facebook page. Check out the Facebook page and look for the second part of this video in a couple of days. All right, thanks for coming by the garage, and cut.